Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gamersgrove podcast, episode 25. Today is August 13th, 2018. We are your hosts, Will, Austin, and Brady.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, guys, and hello to all of you listening. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. We are a gaming news podcast. We cover any sort of things we deem newsworthy week to week. We also talk about game releases, business side of things, and relay how the more businessy, not as interesting news can relate to you, the consumer. And outside of that, just really anything we find interesting. But yeah, before we get started with any of the actual news stuff, we're going to be talking about games we played this week. I'll start it off because I was pretty productive this weekend. I played some Yakuza 0, which is a oh yeah, I did. That's right. It's a Japanese RPG developed by Sega, which just recently came out to PC. The game before, I believe, had been Sony or PlayStation exclusive up until this point. But it's just a game about you being a former Yakuza member, just beating up people. Honestly, is the gist of it. It's a fighting game at its core, and it's really solid. Like, I didn't think... I'd watched some streamers play it because of, it being recently released on PC, and I kind of got into it. So I figured I'd check it out. It was only $20, why not? But it really is really good. It does a great job of feeling awesome to just beat the crap out of these guys. I will say it's very cutscene heavy. Like, there were times 20-minute long cutscenes.
Oh man, that's a long.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It's like Kojima.
Yeah, exactly. It's like giving Metal Gear Solid a run for its money. But regardless of that, it's still an interesting story, so it's kind of fun to pay attention to. But I'm definitely more in it for the fighting stuff. There's like 3 different styles of combat you can use, and they each have upgrades and new moves you can learn and stuff like that. It's very wacky, it's very fun, but I've been having a really good time with that. The other game I played a little bit of, I went back and played the Ultimate Doom, which is kind of like the Doom 1 and 2 bundle for Steam. I played that because, as we'll be talking about a bit later, Doom Eternal had some gameplay release this week, and so I wanted to go back super old school and play the original. And that's
getting a little nostalgic. Yeah,
and it's Doom. There's not much to say there. It's a fantastic. It's like the first person shooter that really kind of started it all, and it's solid. I love the game. It weirdly holds up very, very well to this day. It's just as fun to play. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. Austin, what you been up to?
Well, I played some more of The Long Dark, which is that survival game I mentioned last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finished up the Warframe storyline tonight, actually. Yeah, I don't know if you've played through any of this storyline, because I remember you played back in the beta, but you haven't really played too much recently, right?
I've done like a couple quests, but not a whole lot. I didn't honestly know there was a overarching story. Honestly.
Yeah, it gives you some more lore on the the universe and talks about the Orkin and stuff. I don't know, it's really interesting, and if you are interested in that at all, you should check it out, because it kind of gives a actual campaign to what it was just kind of a grinder game. So.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Cool. Very cool. Brady, what you been doing?
Yeah, this week still more No Man's Sky. Pretty much it. Yeah, it's still enjoying the game though. The more I play though, the more some of the smaller things I was, thought weren't a big deal have been bothering me.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
But like ship control. I feel like at first it was like whatever, I could get used to this. Then it was kind of annoying. Then I got a new ship and it was like, okay, it's a little better. But now it's like I feel like it's getting worse progressively. Maybe I'll go through the same cycle when I get a new ship. But yeah, I feel like they baby you too much in the ship controls, and then it ends up for just like weird movements or something you can't control. Then some other small things with like ship combat, where like the AI, like friendly ships, you'll be like helping them, like trying to shoot these pirates, and then they'll fly in front of you, then you'll shoot them, and then they start attacking you. You know, like stuff like that. And then, or like there's this scenario where I was trying to get pirates from a freighter, but then one of the pirates flew in front of like their like, I don't know, their cargo ships, the smaller ones, and so I shot their cargo ship, and then like my standing with them went down. I was like, it's just a mess, man. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to do something nice, and then it turns around to bite me. And then the usual inventory problems. But yeah, I'm still enjoying the game. Like as you progress more, I think it gets like some of the things get better, like inventory. But yeah, it's still a fun game so far.
Well, one of my coworkers gave me a hot tip about this. I haven't actually checked to verify this myself, but apparently on every single space station, there is a dude you can buy an inventory slot upgrade from. Oh, and it's really? Like super cheap. I don't like. I haven't gone to check, but apparently it's like near the character customizer area. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe we can check and validate that, because that would like totally fix the problem. It's like starts at like 10,000 units and goes up by like 10K each time. That's so it's super cheap. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I was like, sometimes if you want to upgrade like your ship or something, it takes up an inventory slot, and so it's almost like, all right, do I want to be faster, my ship to be faster and be more fuel efficient, or do I want another inventory slot? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I don't understand some of their reasoning behind some things, but whatever.
Yeah, it's still a lot better than it was. I checked just before I left work today, and it's right now they've kind of settled at around 20K concurrent players daily, so
that's pretty good.
Yeah, a huge improvement from what it was,
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the news then. I think it covers everything we've done. The first thing on our list is kind of a big one. The Chinese government has stopped. I don't think stopped completely, but they've immensely slowed down.
Would be a fair word.
Halted. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, they've halted issuing out game licenses. But why don't you guys tell me a bit more about this?
So we could see. So I mean, there's something going on. There was recently some research done by a Beijing-based firm, CNG, that released this information, and also the China's official gaming association's GPC, and it said how they are stopping, or they've stopped releasing game licenses, but no one knows why. The research then has come up with some other like possibilities of why they could have stopped releasing game licenses. One of them being that the market's oversaturated, which is a pretty bad excuse or a bad cause. And then the one that kind of makes more sense is more of like a political answer, where recently there's been some reform in the Chinese government, where, not to get too much into it, but I don't remember the Chinese government's or the Chinese president, Xi Jinping or something. Yeah. But he's, essentially president for life because he removed sitting terms. And so there's some restructuring. And so there used to be someone, who would manage the game licenses being issued, which is it used to be called the State Administration of Radio, Film, and Television. Now it's called State Administration of Radio and Television. There's a source close to Wii Game, who is Tencent's game branch, has said that there's been bureaucratic infighting in the recent months, which is most likely the result of why there hasn't been any game license issued.
Interesting.
And then a point to bring up, those like people be like, oh well, Tencent and NetEase have been releasing games this year in China. Well, they're saying how they got their licenses approved previously, and are just now releasing the games for them, so they're kind of proactive on that part.
Okay.
But the whole point of this is, this is like the biggest gaming market in the world, and they're stopping releasing license of games, and so the growth, it was like 30%, and I think it's gone down to like 13%. So it's like still a big growth.
Yeah. But
it's not as big. And to put it into numbers, there's 527 million gamers using just their mobile phone, which is like what that firm, I guess, was focusing on. So, I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot of people and a lot of money that are kind of just not being made, I guess.
Pretty wild. Yeah, I wonder if we will in the coming days, because this is news as of like yesterday, so this is pretty fresh. So I wonder if we will get some sort of like official statement from the government on this, or if they'll revert it, or what. Like it seems, I guess they could do what they want. Maybe this is something that happens a lot and they don't explain their actions, but it's a big market to just totally shut down and not say why,
Yeah, I know, exactly. And I mean, I guess China's, even like Tencent, they're pretty, like, no one really knows much of what goes on inside unless you work there, really. So it is kind of like just, I don't know, there's like a fog, you got to get past in order to know everything. Yeah. But this other source was saying how, or a gaming analyst who's at that company said that, once they start approving, it'll take like 2 to 3 months for, all the applications that are already like waiting to be approved to get approved. So it'll take a while, even once they start approving them. In the fact that, everyone's missing out on summer when people are not in school, or I guess I don't know how China works, but it's it's a good market time,
right,
to sell games. So
I wonder if because you mentioned like kind of bureaucratic infighting, and it's, I'm sure, kind of totally different how their government works, but there's times in the U.S. government where when the Senate can't come to an agreement, there's like a shutdown, the government kind of shuts down.
Government shuts
down.
I
wonder if this is sort of like that, or maybe it's like a result of that.
I think it'd be like a result, if anything. I don't think it's.
But yeah, I mean, like not specific, like the games like causing the shutdown, but like no licenses are being issued because maybe there is some sort of shutdown going on. That's just a super wild hunch, but.
Yeah. Well, so this is like similar news. It's kind of blended together, but Monster Hunter World was recently pulled from being sold in China because there's been complaints against the game from the government.
Interesting.
Or authorities, whatever. Yeah. So I guess like they're still doing, that kind of work, but just not issuing game licenses.
We're way out of our element here with these politics, but it's interesting.
Definitely.
Stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, just hypotheticals.
That is curious, especially the Monster Hunter thing, because really, Monster Hunter is a series that's been going on for a long time, and this is kind of the first Monster Hunter game to be big in the West Coast. This has always been like very Japanese and just kind of like for the Asian markets. It's only just recently come to the West and gotten so popular. I wonder, I'd imagine they'd be pretty good, especially like, Chinese is pretty clear on like what you can and can't do, and their censorship and stuff, and so most people are pretty willing to cooperate with that, considering the huge market that they are.
And It said that Monster Hunter here says like restrictions in games could include like blood or sexually suggestive characters. But analysts in China claim that Monster Hunter didn't feature any obvious infractions. So it might have,
that's strange.
Just been like they didn't want the game there, and so they just took it off.
Yeah. I remember a lot of my coworkers are huge Monster Hunter fans, and I know one of the biggest but one of the more prominent censorship things with Chinese market in games is not showing bones in any sort of way. And I do one of my coworkers did say like one of the Monster Hunter bosses is like basically like a monster made out of like the dead bodies of other monsters. So I imagine like, if you have a whole boss like designed like that, it may be a harder thing to change. That's, again, this is a huge stretch, but like maybe something like that kind of set them off and it's like, okay, just get rid of it.
Yeah, the thing is, though, it still doesn't change the fact, though, that they're halting gaming licenses. It seems like there's a huge shift in policy, assuming it has to do with, the administration change.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing. We're just seeing kind of like I guess it's a shift in policy. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a huge thing that is happening, and it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out and what comes of this, because this could totally change how a lot of the games industry is run. Just if you've been listening to our podcast like since we started, a lot of our news is about companies teaming up with Tencent or NetEase to get their games into the Chinese market. And if that factor is completely eliminated, that could just totally change how these people work.
That takes out like most of the market.
Exactly.
For video games, just by doing that. But
it's we'll have to, as we always say famously, we'll have to wait and see. This is definitely something we will get back to, because like we said, it is a huge impact to the game industry if it goes south. But for the moment, we don't really know much, and we can only speculate. Moving on, though, Bethesda has said that they may not release their future games on systems that don't allow crossplay. And while they didn't really come out and directly say it, this is very clearly a jab, kind of a call out against Sony, who lately is just rather infamously been very much against any sort of cross-platform play with the PlayStation and any other consoles, which is the complete opposite form that all these other companies have been playing. Crossplay has actually become a very big thing now. Like, a lot of games are starting to include it. It's the thing to do, and Sony's just kind of being very stubborn and behind the times and not willing to comply, I guess. So Bethesda, it's kind of boldly challenging them, like, okay, you don't want to have crossplay, then we don't want our games on your system. And that, that's a very big thing to do, especially from a big company like Bethesda. That could hurt their sales, but to take that stance it's nice, really.
This is coming out from an interview with Game Informer's Andrew Weiner with Pete Hines, who's the senior vice president of Bethesda. When Pete Hines was asked about crossplay with PlayStation 4, he said, basically, we can't have the game without crossplay, so crossplay is going to be in there. And basically, like you said, challenging Sony. He didn't explicitly say Sony by any means, but it's very clear. Yeah, it's very clear that's the he's implying Sony. So
yeah, definitely so. It's nice. It's nice that these companies are willing to stand up to them, and if enough people, follow in suit with Bethesda, it could pressure Sony into caving, before they intend. Because realistically speaking, I don't think Sony's going to forever, or for the end of time, be like, no crossplay. They're just going to be very slow to adapting it. So things like this could force them to sing a different tune a bit faster, which would be great. Because every other console and system is like super cool with it. It's really just Sony that doesn't want to make a move.
Okay, all right, but I'll take this other side. So, Xbox, says they've supported it, but I feel like it's only because Sony said they don't support it. And if Sony said like, oh, we support crossplay, I'm sure Xbox would have been like, we don't support it in a way because, their Xbox isn't you don't understand what I'm saying? So Xbox has it, and so everyone's gonna like go towards it or whatever. But like Sony could have just done the opposite, the same thing, and Xbox, could have done the opposite.
True.
I'm explaining this really badly right now.
It's late.
And what I'm trying to say,
they take the opposite just because their biggest rival is the other stance.
Yeah, but so like Xbox, people are just gonna get the Xbox now, not because of the crossplay, because they like the Xbox, but crossplay is an added feature. Whereas PS4, God, I'm explaining. So I'm losing track to explain this. Like, yeah, okay.
So
anyways,
people are gonna pick up the Xbox instead because, like, Xbox the good guys and they support crossplay, whether they prefer that console more or not. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Well, okay. So does PS4 support crossplay for any platform right now?
Zero crossplay.
Not at all.
Okay, all right. But what? So there's crossplay between PC and like
Xbox.
What else?
PC, Xbox.
Okay,
certain
yeah.
I
Nintendo
think
things.
Nintendo Switch has some too.
So Xbox.
Yeah.
Okay, but Xbox and PC are a given, at least with Windows 10, because Microsoft owns both of them. So that's what I'm trying to get at is like Sony like doesn't have anything else,
right? And
so Xbox is like we support it, but there's nothing else for them to be a crossplay with besides the Switch, but that's not that big a deal. Besides Sony, so. I'm sure once Sony supports it, I'm sure Xbox might give like some pushback of supporting crossplay between the two. So I don't that's what I'm kind of trying to say.
I get what you mean.
They don't have it right now.
They're like doubling down on their
it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Inevitableness of not being the top
but
dog.
A PS4 not or they're kind of just like I'm sure they're hoping PS4 is like we like continue to not support it. So Xbox could still have that, same thing of saying like, yeah, we support it, but they don't have to actually. No, there's no crossplay right now, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
I'm like I said, I'm explaining this really badly, but hopefully someone picks up on.
I think I'm trying to get what you're saying. It's kind of funny that like we're even talking about this because not even a couple months ago, cross-platform play wasn't really as heavy on anybody's minds. I feel like, once again, this happened mainly because of Epic Games' Fortnite being like, hey, we want to be on every system and we want everybody to be able to play with each other. And then, Fortnite being the super tycoon that it is right now, most consoles and people were just like, hell yeah, man. Like, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it was
but before, if you asked them like a week prior, they would have been like, crossplay, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, it's one of those things that we didn't know we wanted it until we had it. And now it's kind of here to stay.
Yeah.
You got the taste of freedom. You want to keep
you can't,
the freedom.
you can't just take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I mean, hopefully they will start to sing another tune. It would suck in a way. For the people, it would suck if Bethesda did stick to their guns and then suddenly no Bethesda games pop up for PlayStation. That would kind of suck.
Yeah.
But it's for a good cause, hopefully.
Yeah. Once other developers though start taking the same stance, then it'll
be their wake up
really
call.
Put the pressure on.
Definitely. But all right, well, to move on to the next thing, Bethesda. A lot of this week is Bethesda news. Bethesda said that Fallout 76 not being on Steam doesn't mean future Bethesda titles will also not be on Steam. This is an interesting thing. I guess it goes to show that if you listen to our last week's podcast, a lot of people shared the same kind of concerns that we did, that because Fallout 76 was going to be on Bethesda.net, that future, like, why would any future Bethesda titles not also be on that? But I guess that's not what they're intending, which I think is a bit odd, honestly. A lot of people seemed upset that, like, another browser, but it's not that huge of a deal. And it seems weird that now Bethesda would go to the effort of making this but then not fully committing to it, like,
well, I feel like they still have plans to just use it mostly for the online capabilities of Fallout 76, because it's their first real title that's online, besides if you count Elder Scrolls Online. And so they might just be wanting to build infrastructure for that game alone, and maybe future games that include multiplayer capabilities.
Right.
But
yeah, well,
if there's another single player game, it would make no sense to release it on theirs when they could definitely, get a lot more sales releasing it on Steam.
Yeah, and I think the question still stands is, will they make that 30% back by putting it on there?
Yeah.
Launcher, because I was reading a lot of, like, comments on Reddit, and I swear half the comments were saying how people won't buy the game now because it's not on Steam, and it's a deal breaker for them.
That's a bunch of BS.
But I do get
those people are just whining.
It's a close deal breaker for me.
Really?
Like, honestly, though, well, think about it. Like, this is like Origin. Like, use Origin as an example. Like Battlefield 4. I have friends who play Battlefield 4, but I have all my friends on Steam, and it's like, it's hard to connect them to Origin or get them to add you on Origin, or vice versa, add someone on Origin through Steam. It's like I could post on my profile or whatever, like, hey, add me on Origin or whatever, but to an extent, no one's going to look at that.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's like unnecessary extra steps that have to be taken.
Yeah, and half the time it never goes through, and it's like I have all of my, Steam friends who I like to play games with. They're on Steam, and, it's hard to get someone on another platform, especially something obscure as Bethesda. Like, if they have like one game on there, it's it's a pretty slim chance that I'll get my other Steam friends to add me on. That one,
I'm curious. Launcher. How Discord and some other apps allow you to kind of import friends from like Skype and Steam? I wonder if that would be possible to do on a game launcher, like import your friends from Steam.
Yeah,
that would. Well, they have. I think Discord has the option to do that with Battle.net. That's Blizzard's.
Yeah.
Game launcher.
I think they have it with Steam too.
So it's definitely possible. I think it'd be more. Bethesda would need to get in touch with Discord in order to make that happen.
Yeah, but then that goes back to, they're pretty much like, why do that? Like, it's I don't think Steam would want people integrating their friends onto the Bethesda net launcher.
Yeah.
So
that's a fair point.
I don't know how that'd work out, because it's like you could sync them all through Discord, but then I think Discord will still have to get permission from Steam to use that information with Bethesda, and so like I don't know how a mediator would work on that either.
Yeah, that's true. I think that they're not committing to it right now, because Fallout 76 might be like the test run, like you said, to see like, can they make back that 30%. And I think if it does really well and a lot of people still play the game on their new thing, then they might be more open to moving forward on putting other Bethesda developed and published games on it. Because also, as a part of this interview, the interviewer, asks if Doom Eternal is going to be on Bethesda.net, and Pete Hines just keeps it vague, and he just says well, we haven't really decided, you know? So that kind of tells me that, you know, that Fallout 76 may very well just be the test run into how much they want to commit to making Bethesda.net their thing, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Wait, so I just had another thought, though. So I was just thinking of other big, like, MMOs that don't use Steam. And, you know, there's, like, RuneScape and WoW and stuff. But if you think about it, most Steam games that are, like, big multiplayer games have their own launcher still. It's just
you can just get it through Steam.
Yeah, so, like, Warframe and, like, EVE and... you know, all that, you could still go to their website and download it and not use Steam.
I think even Elder Scrolls Online, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls Online. So, you know, if they still, like, if they really wanted to, they could do that, just do that. So, I think at this point, now that I think about it, it's more than just, like, having their own launcher and stuff. It's definitely about building their own platform and taking that 30%.
Yeah, that is a good point, because really, like, if I, you know, like we said, even with Elder Scrolls Online, if I go and like download that through Steam, really all that is downloading is the launcher, and then I open the launcher and it downloads the game. Like, it's still like, you know, Steam will say I'm playing it, but really I'm still running the game through their Elder Scrolls Online launcher and not really directly through Steam.
Wonder if that's a way to like get around like in-game purchases.
I wonder. I don't know.
I know you could still purchase things through Steam.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like with Warframe, like buying platinum, it still takes you through the Steam market, you know, to get the money. It takes you to then buy it on their website.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was gonna say it does link you to a third
so it's
party
like
website.
Both. I wonder if that counts as a loophole. I feel like if it was a legit loophole, sure Steam would like close that up real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting to think about. I don't think they'll fully commit, you know, at the end of the day.
Oh, I think just Fallout 76 will be on it, and then
maybe some other like multiplayer heavy games.
Yeah. Yeah.
One other thing to know about it, the interviewer also asked Pete Hines if Fallout 76 will ever come to Steam, and once again, Pete Hines is kind of vague and just says, I don't know, maybe it could. I'm not going to say no. But it is worth noting that the Elder Scrolls Online and the Elder Scrolls Legends were both games that started exclusively on Bethesda.net, eventually did make their way to Steam. So it may not even be a permanent thing that Fallout 76 is on Bethesda.net, you know. They could just port it over to Steam, maybe if the numbers aren't looking like what they want.
Yep, I was just going to say, that'd be the only reason, to put it over to Steam.
Definitely. It'd be kind of like admitting defeat, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at it.
All right. Next thing, Bethesda has rebranded one of their studios, Escalation Studios, as Bethesda Game Studios Dallas. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't know much about Escalation Studios and what they previously did. But they were under the Bethesda wing, I guess.
Yeah, basically ZeniMax Media, which is the parent company of Bethesda, bought Escalation back in like 2017, and then they just now rebranded it as Bethesda Game Studios Dallas. And if you go to escalation.com, it just redirects you to Bethesda.net or whatever it is, BethesdaGameStudios.com. Sorry. So that's pretty much the news point there.
Yeah. It looks like it said they worked with id Software on projects like the snap map tools on Doom.
So I'm looking at their wiki. It seems like they did a lot of like helping other companies with pieces of their game. But I'm trying to see if there's anything that like they themselves made. But
well, I mean, now it says that they're like a co-developer essentially for Starfield. and they're working on Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Blades.
Yeah, this is, it makes sense. With, I'm sure, development ramping up, and the final touches for Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Blades both coming out shortly. Then they got Starfield, and after that, Elder Scrolls 6. There's a lot that needs to be done at Bethesda, so I'm sure it's all hands on deck, and they're bringing in as many as they can.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't be surprised if they acquire another studio here in the next year or two.
Yeah, I could see it happening.
Because if Fallout 76 does well, I definitely think they're gonna expand more. Because I think they'll want to make another multiplayer game or something of that sort. And they'll have the money too. Because I mean, they already have. They're a very profitable company, so I'm sure if they can, they could go for it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true.
They don't want to pull a Riot Games and spend money.
Yeah, hopefully not. But it's I can see them. It definitely Bethesda's been on the up and up for a while now, so they can afford to bring on more studios, and they like to, especially with their main titles. Bethesda does have a trend of trying to be pretty innovative in between the games. So, with that, comes a lot more work and things to do. It's a lot harder to kind of make an idea and game from scratch than it is to just take the base of your previous and add on a few more things. So they're hard workers over there at Bethesda. Definitely. All right. Next up, we finally got to see the Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay footage, and boy oh boy, that game looks nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, it looked a little too good, because my mentality beforehand was that all right, I'm gonna sit on that one, and then when I got more free time, I'll pick it up, or when it's on sale, I'll grab it. And then I saw the gameplay, and I was like, oh crap, this actually looks really awesome. And now I don't know if I can or want to wait. It became a possible day one pickup for me.
Well, I was gonna say, just so you know, you're gonna be picking it up on PlayStation, I assume.
Yeah. That is a big deterrent, but I mean, I did do that with Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5, excuse me, to be fair. So it's not totally out of the cards. We'll see. There's a lot of games coming out around this time, so I have to weigh my options. But Red Dead did become a bigger contender. But to speak to the game itself, it's just if you played the first, or I guess second Red Dead game, Red Dead Redemption 1, it's like an open world, Wild West Grand Theft Auto. You run around, you can kind of do whatever you want, and there's the main story and the the very Rockstar famous, very detailed and well written stories, lots of side missions, and all you could do all sorts of things. And this one is keeping up with that. This time around, you play as you're a part of a big group of bandits that are just kind of trying to survive as the Wild West, and the idea of the Wild West is fading out, which that in itself is just a really cool idea, guys just getting caught up with the change of time and fighting against it as best they can, and
right,
losing the eventual battle. It's a cool setting. But so you could do all sorts of things within your camp to help out the other bandit groups, and they move from place to place as the story and things happen. You can honestly just do just about everything you can think of. I think there's gonna be more gameplay videos released probably in the upcoming weeks, to build hype. But they did talk briefly in this first trailer about making the brawling and the gunplay more in-depth and more complex. I don't necessarily know what that means, but it looks good.
They kind of mentioned some of the hand-to-hand combat stuff has been improved. There's I don't know, they showed some fistfights in the trailer, and it looked really interesting. You can grapple people and take down, and just good old fisticuffs people. So
Yeah.
it looks fun. You can have your like, battle in the dusty streets, just punching each other to death.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my favorite things to do in Red Dead Redemption 1 was to walk into a bar and just sucker punch somebody because much like some classic Old West movie, it would start a full-on bar brawl where everybody just starts beating the crap out of everybody, which is always really fun. So I hope that's still something I can do.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. It looks very much like a Rockstar game, and Rockstar games are always solid. It really even kind of alleviated some of my worries, up till now. There's definitely been a shift within Rockstar as they're slightly becoming more online oriented. Grand Theft Auto 5 kind of infamously did not have any single player DLCs, which is up until that point something Rockstar has been known for. They make great story-based games, and then they dish out a couple really solid story DLCs. But with the game industry kind of shifting more to online and loot boxes, that didn't happen this time around. So I was worried that Red Dead 2 would go even further with that, and they would maybe even neglect their campaign and story. But at least with this little trailer, that seems to not be the case. It looks like they're still giving it all to the single player, and I'm sure there's still going to be a very solid multiplayer to go with it. Yeah, so I feel a bit better.
Yeah,
honestly, after watching it.
It looks like there'll be lots to do in single player. Very, very immersive experience, and pretty deep.
All kinds of Wild West cowboying to be done. So that is something to look forward to. Speaking of gameplay, we also QuakeCon happened this last weekend, which is why there's so much Bethesda news, because they're buddies and Bethesda shows all their stuff at QuakeCon. So as a part of that, we got to see some Doom Eternal gameplay, which is something I've really been looking forward to. And I mentioned it just earlier in this podcast, but Doom is a very famously infamous game, and most recently with the 2016 remake, I guess not remake, but it's a sequel. Sure, it's a sequel, I guess. With the most recent iteration of it, it's proven itself to just continue in the trend of being a ridiculously over-the-top violent, and just you are a badass who can just kill billions of demons without blinking an eye, and just giving you the best power trip you could ever want. This Doom 2 looks to be following in suit with that. One of the bigger, a seemingly simple change, but a genius one that I noticed from the trailer is the double barrel shotgun, which is kind of like the Doom weapon. It has a grappling hook on the shotgun this time around. So another, I guess if you don't know, a big part of Doom, and really like old school shooters in general, they were really big on movement and mobility. Like if you look at old school Quake and even the new Quake that's came out, it's your character's flying all over the place and just kind of doing like almost drive-bys with your momentum. So adding a grappling gun into the mix really, helps with that. I can already see, like, just from the gameplay alone, you're going to be flying all over the place, blasting demons left and right as you're just grappling all over the map. It looks awesome. Doom Guy has a sword arm now. It's like,
that's what I was gonna say.
It's like they're going just to the extreme with it, and I love it. There's one little cutscene moment in the gameplay where the Doom Guy is walking through like a science bay, and there's like a bunch of people working, and they see the Doom Guy walk in, and they just all fall silent, like, oh my god, that's him, and they like get out of his way, and like they're like a mix of in awe and totally terrified by your just insane levels of manly badassery. It's really great, and Doom does a really good job of like visual storytelling. Like you learn a lot about the character you're playing without him ever needing to say a word. You can get a pretty good idea of what he's like and what people think of him.
That seems funny because in a world or in an environment where, demons are all around, they're scared of this guy more than the demons.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
A funny thing about in the 2016 Doom is you can learn from the like little lore tidbits and storybooks and stuff found in the game that the demons are afraid of the Doom guy. Like he killed and continues to have killed so many demons that he's made hell a more desolate and barren wasteland than it was because of just the mass levels of murder he commits to demons. So that's just like, it doesn't get more power trippy than that, but I totally buy into it, and it's just it hits that weird but perfect mix of this guy is doing ridiculous, just over the top things, but for some reason, because it's him, it's believable. Like if it were anybody else, like any other video game character, you'd be like, oh, come on. But Doom guy grabs the demon and rips him in half with his bare hands, and you're like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, I don't know. He's got his crazy persona around him, and it just works in the best way possible.
It just works.
Yeah, famous Bethesda quote for you. But yeah, it looks great. I'm super excited for that game, and I don't know, I'm really looking forward to it. The last thing we have in terms of news is some Insurgency Sandstorm gameplay, or a teaser, I believe. It's the newest installment in the Insurgency franchise. The Insurgency franchise being kind of a super in-depth, realistic first-person shooter, or just take on all that. I have not ever actually played any of the Insurgency games, but I have watched a bit about them.
Yeah,
they go
started back from a Half-Life 2 mod, and then
right.
They released like an actual standalone game back in 2014. Which was the first Insurgency, and me and Brady played a little bit of it. We didn't really get too invested in it. I think mostly because like not a lot of other people played it, and it's kind of a fun game to play with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a pretty basic FPS, has its own looks, and
it's different than most FPS because it's hardcore FPS, so there's no HUD, there's no hit markers. I mean, you don't really know if you killed somebody. You kind of have to like assume you didn't and then play it safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really, the Insurgency Sandstorm gameplay looks really good. They just the first beta just ended, and they're gonna have another one before the launch, which is in September, I think the 18th. But yeah, I'm gonna try and get into that second one. I think you have to pre-order though, so if that's the case, I probably won't. But
yep,
sneaky.
Yeah, there's lots of gameplay out there on YouTube. A lot of people got into it and played it. But yeah, it looks super intense, super crisp, and just it looks like a good game. I'm excited to check it out when it releases.
Yeah. So one last piece of news I want to add. We don't have it on our list, but I would feel not right, I guess, to not mention it, especially because I actually am kind of excited for this. We've in the past agreed that we wouldn't talk about Call of Duty since I am working on the game. But the Black Ops 4 public beta just happened last weekend, and it was received fairly well. I feel there was tons of Twitch streamers jumping over to check it out, and it wasn't much. It was just like the multiplayer and some maps, since they introduced some new modes, kind of new to Call of Duty. But yeah, that happened, and it was fun, and it's kind of a weird thing, you know. I don't want to say like I'm just doing QA because I don't want to put that stigmatism on QA, but you know, even being QA and like going on Reddit and seeing people respond to this and think like, hey, like I helped, you know, make that happen, is a really cool feeling. And
being a part of
know.
something like that people
Yeah.
will enjoy for years.
Yeah.
Or at least weeks.
At least, yeah, until Red Dead 2 comes out like 2 weeks after, and then everybody switches over to that.
When is Black Ops coming out? Black Ops 4?
The 12th of October, I believe. The 12th or the 13th.
I look forward to playing that. It looks really fun.
Same.
Yeah, I can't go into too much detail, but I have fun with it too. I played a little bit of the beta. We'll word it like that. And
you know what I love about the Call of Duty games is the hit marker sounds and like the vibration and the controller.
Oh yeah,
when you shoot, it's so satisfying.
So satisfying.
No game has come close to
funny.
That feeling.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's funny because like the hit marker thing is kind of like a meme at this point, but it is really like it is a satisfying like sound and feel. Just like I don't know, it's a very good, crisp way of knowing that you just hit somebody, and it works really well.
Your quick scope connected.
Yeah. Well, all right, that covers it for our news. We're going to jump into our closing segment before we say goodbye, which is This Week in Games, the most recently rebranded This Week in Games, where we're going to tell you about something that was released this week in games. I'll start it off. This Week in Games, August 13th, 2013, Payday 2 came out. Did it really? Holy crap.
Yeah. You know, it seems like it was a lot sooner than that. Not that far back, but...
Yeah, you know, that's right. Because actually, I just saw, like, I think it was... Yeah, I guess it was today. I saw Overkill tweet about, like, hey, it's our 5-year anniversary. But yeah, Payday 2 came out 5 years ago. And it was and it still is, I guess, a awesome bank robbing heist action movie type of game that we all sunk hundreds of hours into. You know, that was like our go-to game, like every day for months.
Probably longer. I mean,
we played that for a long time.
I mean, we played Payday 1 even too.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I mean, you know, so the Payday franchise is near and dear to our hearts. I've probably mentioned it before, but I'm pretty vocal about my displeasure with some of the choices that they've made for the game. But even still, and I may have gone my separate ways with them, I still, you know, hold the game very close to my heart, just as a, you know, not only as a super fun heist, just solid co-op shooter, but just as a really fun, exciting way and bonding way for me and my friends. You know, it was one that was.
I agree,
game.
buddy.
Yeah. I think it's also just a really unique game too. That's why it gained such a popular crowd, and you know, the kind of people that just like the grindiness and stuff. It was just a good game for that kind of play style and a good unique FPS.
Yeah,
combining like a good amount of like stealth and, you know, non-stealth together also.
Yeah, very true. Well, all right, Brady, let's go to you. What do we got for us?
Sure. So this week in games, 2012 August 15th. I said that backwards, but it doesn't matter. War Thunder was released on Steam. So War Thunder, we've this is another game we played back in the day, but it's pretty much what is like an MMO,
airplane MMO,
fly planes and airplane MMO. You fly planes that shoot people down.
Basically,
it's like, think of like World of Warships or World of Tanks, but with airplanes. Same exact concept. But I think it's still a decently popular game. It's really well made and put together, and it's pretty unique in its gameplay. But yeah, we played this. We made some videos back in the day. Gamersgrove together.
Yeah.
Some War Thunder.
Yeah, that's
Some good
true.
times on that game.
Something interesting to add to War Thunder, and part of why people enjoy it so much is it's very I don't know the word, but I guess complex with its with the planes and like the bullets. Like if you like it's not like you're just hitting the entity of the plane, like you're actually shooting and breaking parts of it. So if you hit the right spot, you could like hit the engine and just blow up the plane or like a tank on the ground with just that one right shot, and it goes real in depth with that, which is part of why people enjoy it so much, because it's pretty complex.
Dogfight simulator.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, Austin, what you got for us?
Well, this week in games, August 12th, back in 2009, Trials HD came out on Xbox 360.
Hey.
And I played this game a lot, actually, because I didn't have many games for the 360 when I first got it. But I think Trials was either free or really cheap, and so I picked that up, and I played that through, and, spent a lot of nights playing till 2 a.m. trying to beat those levels. They're super frustrating, but super satisfying once you get through them. And they're making a new Trials game. It's coming out, I think, this year, either late this year or next year.
Yeah, I think this year. It was announced at E3.
That's right. I remember seeing that at E3.
Yeah, it was that dude who came and broke the stand or something.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They're like Evil Knievel, the CEO of it.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
Oh, that was funny. I forgot about that. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That would be fun. But all right. That does it for us. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you want to keep up with us and what we do, our podcast comes out generally every Wednesday. We also have Facebook, Twitter, all that. You can find it all in the description. We also occasionally live stream on the side. We usually stream our podcast, but not always every week. And when we're not doing that, we might stream some other just random video games. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next week.